Hello, hola, bonjour, casiho, namaste. All the ways I know how to say hello. Alright, casiho is casiho, shukriya, a shukriya, fir milinge. That's all the Hindi I know. Not very much. But anyway, so we got this shy guy here. And he came from Filmbox. It's FBX format. Filmbox always comes in rotated crazy like this. And anyway, the game only will recognize Z as being up and Y as being forward. Don't ask me why. Just so anytime you make a bone structure, then it animates with an armature, which is like a skeleton that moves the mesh. If it's not Z up and Y forward, it's gonna look like taffy and just stretch. Okay, I guess I should have loaded it before I started the video when I first loaded it. And he was also shrunk down to about the size of a toenail in comparison to the game. So I can bring in a model from the game here and show you its proportions in relation to the game here. So that's probably about normal. Maybe they want him a little taller. I've seen some videos of him running. He's a little taller than that. Make him about that tall. I hope that's right. If it's not, I don't know what to say. So I had to remove his bones because when I oriented him with Z up, he was all stretched all or up like a bunch of noodles. So I'll show you how I do bones. An easy way to do them. You go to armature and you add a single bone. That's your first bone. And I'll move it right up in there. Right there in his booty. Alright. I'll go to bones and I'll go to viewport and which one is it? That's not it. Think dummy. Where are they at? Where is it what you're looking for? That's what I'm looking for. In object data properties. And this only will show up if you got the bone selected, or I mean the armature. That one bone I made is considered an armature, even though it's one bone. So you pick this armature properties or data properties, and you say in front. And what that does is it makes the bone where you can see through the model. It makes it a lot easier to do your bone structures. Next thing, I go to edit mode. Now with a ball of a bone, just remember the bone up here, it's going to point up. So you pick the ball that's on the top and you hit E. Let me turn these keys on so you can see what I'm hitting. Yeah. Make these a little brighter. So what I press, you see. Yeah, it works. Okay, it could be a little better, but it's not the best. It's not that easy to see it. See how small that is? It's probably because I got my screen at 4K. It's probably fine at 1440p. But anyway, so we hit E. We pick a bone, the ball on the bone, and we hit E to make a new one. Now you can think of this part as being like the spine, which I'm not going to make this thing exactly correct as far as needing a bone for every spine joint. But you just need one bone for the head. And you go to your side views. It's best to pick up an exact side or an exact front or an exact top if you're moving these things, or you're going to end up thinking you're moving it one way and then go to the other view and realize that it's really over there. So that's why I say be in an exact side view. And you can pick these balls and you can move them like this. So what we're going to do now, since we started at the hip, or the butt really, We'll pick the ball for the neck, and then we'll do the one for the shoulder by hitting E. And then the one that'll be for the arm bone to the, where it looks like he'd bend about right there, maybe. Where his elbow is. And then one for the forearm, one for the hand. Then we'll check the top view to make sure we're on point. Yep, that's pretty good. We'll go back to our front view and do the same thing. Now, this part's pretty easy. The part that gets a little monotonous and boring is when you have to paint the weights. I'll get into that in a minute. Let's get these bones first. Check that one on from the top view. That looks pretty good. I'll go back to the front. Now, the best way to do a hip, in my opinion, from looking at other videos, is to have a hip go up and then go down. If you just go straight down, it's going to have problems. You're going to have issues where you're going to be connecting. It's going to be like grabbing stuff over here. So I go back to this one and I do the other side. I'll check them real quick. In the side view, that looks pretty good. You go back to the front. And I'll do the down to the foot, or ankle, actually. Okay. And go to the side view. Now for this, I've seen other people do this, where they go to the ball of the foot, and then they go to the toes. So we'll do this for the other side as well. Let's go ahead and pick the ball first. That makes it where it's easier to do this. Let's go to the front view. Okay. Now for the heel, we'll pick that ball. We'll just send one bone straight down. And I realize I'm not in the perfect side view. So you can see it's crooked already. Oh, you can just hit G to move them. Pick that ball. Okay. Now I've also seen where they make an additional bone that goes out to the side, which I'm not going to do that for this. I'm just not going to fool with that. I don't know really the significance of having an extra bone there. Well, maybe some, but I'm not going to fool with it. This will be good enough. So now to get this guy to animate with these bones, and that looks pretty good. I should probably, this is a good point. Save your work. You get this far, you don't want to start over. I'll just mucho sueño en la mañana, mucho fiesta en la noche. Noche. No mucho fiesta. No big party at night, but I am sleepy in the morning. Alright. Next thing we get out of edit mode, go to object mode. Now we pick the body, the mesh. We hold shift, we pick the bones, we right click, and we parent it. It's got to be parented. Now I can try automatic weights, but it probably ain't gonna give me the results I want. It may give me an error. No error. So I'm gonna pick the bones and go to pose and see how well this works with automatic weights. Automatic weights, it does its best guesstimate to, it's automatic, you know, as long as you move it and it ain't like what you're looking for. You don't want it to be stretching parts of the other part. That's what is the main thing. Now, if you get up close and you look, this isn't going to be like movie CGI quality where, you know, it's perfect. But if you did want that to be better, how that is doing right there, what you have to do is you have to go to object mode and you pick the object, and then you go to weight paint. And what this will do is you can cycle through all the bones, which I didn't check the foot yet, but you cycle through all the bones. They'll be over here. You'll see in object data properties, you'll see all the bones. These are all the ones I just made. And you go through them all, it'll show you the area of influence. Now, since this did automatic weights, it already pre-painted this thing, which I can hide these bones now because they're already in place. So let me do that. Let's go back to here and not tell it to be in front. Alright, now we go back to weight paint mode, and we can see better which bones are affecting what. And like I was saying, if you wanted to fix this part more so that it's affecting more of this, you basically, one is red, 0 is blue, and the gradient that makes in between blue and red, well, it's actually more colors than just that. Blue is here, that's around green, yellow, orange, and red. Now the amount of weight is the amount of influence. So you could do like a little weight, and this is the amount of strength that the brush has, and you can hit F and make the brush larger. And what you would do is, see this bone here, even though it's not named, you could name them all if you want. If that you prefer doing that, you could say like left femur or whatever, or you could have done that when you made it too. But you can draw more influence, so it's a little better, you know, blending. And you can do like this blur. You kind of blur it a little. So we'll go back. Well, I need to paint a little more. What's the other? There's a, you turn it off, front faces only. Turn that off. It'll paint behind also. Alright, let's go back to pose mode. We'll go to object mode first, pick the bone group, pose mode, and I'll show you how that affected this when I rotate this bone now. But it's still a cut. That's actually a cut in the mesh. The mesh has got a cut in it. It's not sealed like it's got a crack running down it, which I'm not going to try to fix that. I'm just showing you how, you see how there's more of an influence. It's stretching more of the skin, whereas this one, it's not as much. But it would take me quite a while to paint this whole thing. So let me just check a few things. Let me check the hand, check the foot. This is where I probably do need these in the front. That's going to be kind of a pain in the butt to, I don't know, that might work. See if you're animating it. You want it to look like I want to do that. Oh goodness. I'm sorry. I'm so sleepy. Oh. Actually, I got some energy drinks over there. Let me grab one. Hey, one of these Monster Energy. I like the ultraviolet, the purple can. It's like a grape. You know what's crazy? I don't like carbonation. I'd rather pour these in a cup a few times and get all the bubbles out. I bet I like carbonation in Coca-Cola, but I don't like them in energy drinks. So what I'm going to do is fix this. I'm going to fix where I can just move that one bone and then I'll move the ankle. So pick the mesh, go to weight paint. You can't just pick the bone here though, you got to find it, which ain't a problem. You can find it pretty quickly. It's not that many bones. I'm just going to make it where when this bone here moves, it moves the heel of the foot. Be careful not to paint the foot behind. That's why people don't usually use that setting here. I mean, they use that so they don't do that. So I want it to be so if that bone moves, it also moves the toes. Which I probably should have just put one bone in there. It would have been the best way to do it. Oh, and don't ever do this if you've already animated it. That's a pain in the butt to get things right when it's in an animated state. But you have a rest mode and a pose mode. I would say you would want to do this in rest mode, not in a pose. I think that'll be alright. Let me do the other one. Because the toes are fine. The toes, they move like they should. It's just this one bone. When I try to make him run, I want it to not be so much work with the foot. I mean, this is a really pretty easy concept. Just how to do it is probably what's like a limiting factor. So I'm trying to show y'all how to do it. It's not how to do it that's hard. It's just knowing what to do. There's so many buttons and settings. It's confusing. If you've never messed with 3D programs, it's even more confusing. I used to use 3D Studio Max a lot, and I never really felt like I knew a lot of stuff with it, because I could fiddle around and make things, but honestly I can make things in Blender better than I ever could 3D Studio. I just love that water. Man, 3D Studio's got the coolest water particles. You're not limited with a container as far as the area. You can have the damn thing go endlessly. You don't have to define a container for it like you do here in Blender. That should be good. Let's check these real quick. Go to object mode, pick the bones, go to pose, and rotate these feet now. See, does this move the whole foot? Yes. Yeah, well, it moves it enough. That's enough. That's good enough for me. That'll be fine. Well, you know what? Maybe this bone should go. Actually, I'll delete that one. I'll delete it. I've got to be in edit mode to delete it. Let's try this again. Much better. Now I just need to put these back like they were. Alright, now time to save the file again. Now I'll show you real quick how I would try to animate this. And I'm not an animator, so this will look pretty bad. But maybe it's something you excel in. I was gonna say proficient, but I was gonna say procel, which ain't a word. What is it? Timeline. That's what I'm looking for. Timeline. Alright, so think of this as time. Now what I don't know how to do, that I did know how to do in 3D Studio, is how to make the whole damn mesh move when it's running. The only thing I can think is you start frame 1 and move him just a tick, just to make a key. A keyframe is a yellow dot that just basically is an event. And what this will do, however much you animate, it'll morph or tween in between each movement to the end. Like I move this to the end at frame 250, he'll move to 250. But you see how he kind of starts off slow and he speeds up, then he'll slow back down as he gets to a stop. That has to do with the I forgot the name. I know what I'm thinking. Interpolation mode. You change it to linear and it'll be constant speed from beginning to end without that initial slow and start, which that might be good if you're actually doing certain things, but there's a lot of interpolation modes. I won't go through them all, but just to show you what some of them are, is like bounce. Like he'll bounce when he gets to the end. Let's see, there's elastic, like a rubber band popping into place. But there's a lot of different ones. I won't, like I said, I'm not going to go into them all. So we'll go back to this frame. And you got to think, whatever you do, it's like a timeline. It's like it makes an event. And like I said, if you're going to do certain things, it's better to be like in a front view. So I'll get him like I want him to start running. So I don't want him to be in a stop position when he's... I don't want him to be in a stop position. I want him to be already in a pose when he first starts to animate. And I want him to move a lot farther than that. I think the person who wants this probably wants him to be chasing a car or something in the game. So I'm going to move him a lot farther. So if they want to make a video sequence of this guy moving, that he's actually covering some ground, maybe 250 frames ain't enough. Maybe 500 frames. And what I'll do is I'll just drag this 250 point where I moved him earlier. Oh, you hold your middle mouse button down to move this. And there's a way to look at every single one. For everything, they all have their own thing, but I must have not moved him yet. No, I didn't move him yet. Let me delete that keyframe and redo it. So he shouldn't be going anywhere now. Alright, so now I'll go to the last frame and I'll move him how far I want him to actually go. So now he'll make that journey. Now he ain't running. This is where you have to, you know, it sounds crazy, but have someone record you running in place, or better yet, on a treadmill from a side view, and they can give you the perfect. You can record or play back the footage and pause it like every 10th frame or every 5th frame, and have a good idea how this thing should look. Right. Oh, it's better to like do this in like every so many frames. I don't like pick a number and stick to it. Like every 10th frame, do a change. Now this is where I'm not good at doing this. Actually, what I'll do is I'll go to frame 20. Let's see, it's 60 frames a second. I don't know. Let's do 30 frames. Alright, what I'll do now is pick all the bones. I'll pick what he's... If I copy this and paste it here at 30 and say paste flipped, see, that's just going to put him... See, this is where I suck at doing this. There's a way you can flip frames, but not... I don't know. Just do it this way. And just try to remember best I can what he looks like here. I wish I could just copy all that and paste it here, but what it'll do is it'll also paste the location, so it'll put him back there again, and that's not what I want. So if that's 30, that's 60. This is not going to look that good. This ain't, I'm telling you, it's going to look crazy. I mean, it looks like a robot. What you probably have to like also, you gotta do other stuff. You got to like put some sway in it, man. So he sways this way, and he sways that way. And then maybe, oops, side view is what I'm looking for. And maybe he also, as he's running, his head is bobbing back and forth. that don't look like it's a side view, or something looks wrong. See, I knew it was crooked. I knew it looked off. But that'll be alright. We'll just, because he is an ugly fella. We'll just go with that. Go to frame 90. I'll rotate it. Trying to fix it. Thought I was in a side view. It shouldn't have done it that way. Oh, I didn't hit the damn right key. It's alright. When I rotated, I didn't hit X. And it was just rotating it on any which way it wanted to. That son of a gun's crossing some ground quick though. Alright, maybe also he is leaning forward. And leaning back. With each stride. Now I realize the feet are not right. Really, he should be going like this. You know, as he's walking, he should also be moving, you know, this way. So like I said, I'm not that good at this stuff, so this is like, but at least his feet aren't going through the ground. But he should land flat-footed, which that's around frame 15. I could fix the foot so that it's flat. And so if I did frame 15, the next frame would be, well, math don't always work like it should. He'd be running on his tiptoes like that. He should actually be landing flat-footed. And really, whichever foot is making contact should be flat. That ain't right. That's the wrong foot. I done did the wrong one. It's that one that should be flat. Oh, this can take a while. It takes a while. And like really, when someone's at this point and they're kicking off, usually their foot so I can see that's not going to do right. You could be here a long time if you really want it to look really, really, really right. And it's not a quick thing. I'll just render. This shouldn't take long to render. I'll just render like what's the damn camera? What's the camera looking at? I go to object mode. Oh, I deleted the camera. I always say delete the camera. You don't need it. I'll add a camera. Yeah, I have a camera to render. What in the hell is that looking at? Oh, it's in the ground. I'll just tell it view camera to view. That way I can move the view and it'll look at what I want it to look at. I didn't really mean to move the camera, but that's okay. We'll just render that up to frame 73. Oh, I took the light out too, dummy. I say, hey, you never need that light, delete it. I said, every video I make, delete light, delete the camera. So we add a light. Actually, I'll do this. I'll use HDRI background. Now I'm not gonna do 8K background. I'm just do this like this. Right. Oh, and I need to tell it to be assuming they running it at 60 frames a second. Their game. I don't know many PC people who run things at 30. And we'll do encoding perceptually, I don't know how to say that, lossless. And I'll be right back. This won't take long. It'll be done before I'm back. See, it's already done. Let's see how this turned out. You know, I don't think Pixar or Walt Disney's going to be reaching out to add me to their animator team anytime soon. It's a start. It's a start. I can just say that. It's a start. I'll show you what it'll look like in the game like that. Just those few frames. This is going to take me a while to go through 500 frames and make him run. But I'll show you what he looks like as of now. I just need to make the texture, which I haven't made yet. So I don't need all that. Just need one. I'll probably separate part of the eyeball so that it can have a separate texture. It has like a glow. I think his eyes glow red too. Let me find out the name of that texture is. Let's see. Oh, I hate when it does that crap. Adds all them damn dots. Let me fix that. It's loaded in the GIMP. It's the wrong folder. That's the wrong folder. Where the hell's the folder? There it is. Oh. Alright, he's getting converted to a DDS file, I can tell you that. So, make a folder for him. And this will be BC1, generate mipmaps. Now I'll show you the way the developers do their mipmap, their normal maps. So I made a video on this and I decided not to upload it. Or if I did, I don't remember it. What they do, they take an image and duplicate it twice for their normal maps. Or at least for the underbodies of the car. Now you can also bake normal maps on from high poly models, which those are better. But this is even better than the way I was doing it before I started baking. But you have 3 layers and you tell each one to be overlay. Where's overlay? Overlay. All 3 layers to be overlay, right? I didn't mean to do that. Change the opacity. Alright, so then you go to the first layer, and here's what you do. You scale it. You Shift S, and up here you make it slightly larger. Like I'll go 2051 and say scale. The bottom one, you hit Shift S and you scale it slightly smaller. Like this. And say scale. So if you flip between the 3, I probably got to do more than that. That's not that much. The higher the resolution, the more it's hard to see the change. That should be 2048, and this one should be. Alright. Alright, so now the top one's a little larger than the middle one, and the bottom one's a little smaller than all the others. So small, medium, large, going from the ground up. So then you apply a normal map to them all, and since they're overlay, once you get all 3 done, they'll be the correct color because you're seeing all 3 of them at the same time. Just remember that has to be on overlay, the mode, and Photoshop does overlay too. I don't know that new Photoshop does normal maps though. I know it didn't when I used to use the old one I had. Generic normal. See, now this is a proper normal map. Now they say to do like a slight flatten the image and do a slight Gaussian blur. You don't have to, but it helps it look a little better. Not much. It's like 1.5%. Not much of a Gaussian blur. Alright, now we'll export this and make this a normal map for him. So he didn't come with a normal map or any other maps. Just a diffuse, which is just a color. Well, I call the diffuse a color. It may not actually be a color. Now if you're dealing with DDS format, you do a BC5 compression for normal maps. And then for a specular map, which I'll go back before I did all these, I'll just convert him to grayscale. And export that and make that the specular. That's the BC1 compression type. Alright, and you can do a high pass filter for a detail map. It's an enhanced high pass. I use these sometimes. Sometimes they look good, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it adds too much like line contrast, like it's an ink drawing, kind of. I don't know how to explain it, but we'll try it. The HP for high pass. I won't do any other ones. I'll just do that. Maybe a roughness map, which I don't know. We'll leave it like this. This is enough for now. Now we'll export him into, oh yeah, I forgot, shyguy.dds. You don't have to do this. You can make these textures in the game. You just have to make sure to make the texture before you go to import the model, or he is not going. He's going to be red if you don't make the texture before you go to import him. I like to do this first, that way it's done. I ain't got to fool with it. So we'll save this. And that's why all the stuff I make goes in its own folder, because it's got its own material file. So now what we'll do is mine went blank. Hold on a minute. We export him. Oh, I just want to do the eyeballs too. I'll do that later. That'll be something I'll do later. So export as a DAE. Now he doesn't have any base 0, 0 or start 0, 1. Since he's just going to be an animated object without a collision, that he probably worked just like he is. So desktop shyguy.dae. We're not copying textures because they're already in there. Oh, I do want to load his texture that I converted though. Alright, now I export him. That just means it's copying the image in there. The image is already in there. I just wanted to bind it to the mesh so that it's in the mesh. The mesh looks for that. Because I've had problems getting things in the game and make a texture and they still don't work. Because the DAE, you can open a DAE file with a text document. Like his DAE here. Sometimes it takes a while to load it. But you'll see in here it's got the damn texture name. shyguy.dds. If it's looking for a PNG, you may get a red texture. So copy this and we'll stick it in grid map. Actually, you know what? Let's pick a prettier map. Let's pick one I made or one I was working on. And like I said, he gets his own folder. See, Shy Guy, because he has his own. Where's his material file? I just made it now. Why is it in there? You saw me make that file. I know y'all did. I must have made it in here. No, where did that file go? Oh, it's on the desktop. I overwrote that one. Alright, now you see he's got his own file, his own materials, and so does art folder, so you don't mix them. See, it's got its own file too. You can't have two of them. You can add one to the other, but then you can't move him. It's easier just to have him in his own folder, and you can move him from level to level. Actually, all these levels look good now. They got their PBR going. Show y'all a slate rock I made. Man, it's not the easiest thing to make. I actually hand modeled this one. I didn't photo scan it. I don't have any to photo scan. There ain't none around here. Someone asked me about slate rocks, making slate rocks. And, there ain't none around here. So these are my new ones I made here. You can see a little reflection. Not much reflection, just a hint. But there's no like particles for this water. I just threw them in there, see how they'd look. And that's just one rock, just stacked all different ways, dragged all around. And I realized something. See, it's just one rock. Just one rock rotated many different ways. You can even flip it upside down if you want to use like more of a flat side. But this isn't one I'm sharing with anyone. This is one I made specifically for someone. Whether or not they use it, I don't know, but I think they want it to be kind of unique to their level that they're working on. So, but I don't know. I can make other ones, other rocks. That hadn't been that fun to make that one. Just put it that way. See, where we want Shy Guy to test drive him at. Oh hell, maybe he's running down this by this unfinished river. Or let's put him on a flat ground here. Hopefully he'll load. No be no problemas. No mucho problema. Now I've noticed his asset browser is like slow loading for some reason in here. Oh no. He is all damn deformed. Why? The hell if I know why. I don't know. I thought I'd damn fixed that.